June 1944, March 1945. France to Germany. 7 wounds. 7 times the doctor said, "You're done." 7 times Lieutenant Matt Urban refused to leave. Shrapnel in both legs. Bullet through the neck. Artillery fragments in his side and arm. Most men evacuate after 1 wound. Matt Urban collected 7 and kept fighting. 292 days of continuous combat from Normandy to the Rhine. The most wounded officer to remain in action during World War II. The Army gave him the Medal of Honor in 1980. 36 years late, the paperwork was lost. This is his story, the one nobody told for 4 decades. June 14, 1944. 6:47 a.m. Renouf, France. Lieutenant Matt Urban lies in a ditch, blood pouring from his left leg. German machine gun fire tears through the hedgerow above his head. His company, 121 men, who landed on Utah Beach 8 days ago, is pinned down across 200 yards of Norman farmland. 3 Sherman tanks are burning. 15 soldiers dead. The rest hugging the earth, praying the MG-42s don't find them. Matt can't feel his leg below the knee. An 80mm shell exploded 10 feet away. Shrapnel shredded the muscle. Bone fragments grind when he moves. The medic is screaming at him to stay down, wait for evacuation. Matt ignores him. He spots a bazooka team 30 yards away, frozen behind a stone wall. The lead gunner is 19 years old, shaking so hard he can't load the rocket. The Sherman tanks are gone. The infantry is pinned. If someone doesn't kill those machine guns, the entire company dies here. Matt crawls toward the bazooka team, dragging his destroyed leg through the mud. German bullets kick up dirt around him. He reaches the wall, grabs the bazooka, loads it himself. Then he stands up, on one leg, in full view of 3 German machine gun positions. He fires. The first pillbox explodes, reloads, fires again. Second position gone. The Germans swing their guns toward him. Matt doesn't flinch. Third rocket. Third pillbox destroyed. The company breaks through. Renouf falls. Matt collapses, finally, only after the objective is secure. The medics carry him to an aid station. The doctor takes one look at his leg and tags him for evacuation. "You're done, Lieutenant. Hospital ship, then stateside. War's over for you." Matt Urban looks at the doctor and says one word: "No." Wound 1. Shrapnel. Left leg. June 14, 1944. Refused evacuation. Matthew Lewis Urban was born August 25, 1919, in Buffalo, New York. Polish immigrant family. His father, Anthony, worked the steel mills on Lake Erie. 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, coming home covered in soot and burns. The Urbans didn't have money. What they had was pride and a belief that America rewarded hard work. Matt was the youngest of 3 boys. Not big, 5'8", maybe 160 pounds, but tough. The kind you get from growing up in a steel town during the Depression. He was smart enough to get into Cornell University on a partial scholarship. 1937. His father worked double shifts to cover what the scholarship didn't. Matt graduated 1941 with a 2nd lieutenant's commission. The Army assigned him to the 60th Infantry Regiment, 9th Infantry Division. They shipped to North Africa in late 1942. Matt saw his first combat in Operation Torch, Tunisia, then Sicily. By D-Day, he's a company commander. The men respect him because he never asks them to do anything he won't do first. June 10th, 1944. 4 days after D-Day, Matt's company storms ashore at Utah Beach. The beach is secure, but the hedgerow country inland is a nightmare. The Germans have had 4 years to fortify every field, every crossroads. The Americans are fighting blind, which brings us to Renouf, the bazooka attack, the shrapnel wound, and Matt's first refusal to leave his men. The doctor thinks 6 weeks' recovery will change Matt's mind, make him accept that his war is over. The doctor is wrong. August 1944. Operation Cobra. The Allied breakout from Normandy. Matt Urban is back. His leg hasn't fully healed. He walks with a limp. The bone didn't set right. It'll hurt for the rest of his life. He doesn't care. His company is in combat. The advance is chaos. Fast-moving columns. Sudden firefights. German rearguards trying to delay the pursuit. Matt's company is clearing a village when German tanks appear. 2 Panthers, 75mm guns, infantry support. The Americans scatter. No anti-tank weapons. No time to dig in. Matt spots an abandoned American tank destroyer, an M10, 3-inch gun. The crew is dead, slumped over the controls. The TD is still functional. Matt climbs inside, drags the bodies out, takes the gunner's seat. He's an infantry officer. He's never fired a tank destroyer in combat. Doesn't matter. He loads a shell, traverses the turret, aims at the lead Panther. Fires. Direct hit. The Panther explodes. The second Panther swings its gun toward the M10. Matt reloads faster than he thought possible. Fires again. Second Panther disabled. Track blown off. The German infantry retreats. Village secure. Matt climbs out of the TD and collapses. His leg is bleeding again. The exertion tore the surgical stitches. Medics rush over. Hospital, Lieutenant. Now. No. You're bleeding through the bandages. Then change the bandages. They change the bandages. Matt stays. September 3rd, 1944. Belgium. The 9th Division is racing toward the German border. Matt's company is advancing through a forest when machine gun fire erupts from a concealed position. 2 men go down. Matt moves forward to assess. A German sniper, hidden in the tree line, fires. The bullet hits Matt in the neck. Clean through. Enters below the jaw. Exits near the spine. Blood sprays. Matt doesn't fall. He can't speak. The bullet damaged his larynx. But he's conscious. He points toward the sniper's position, gestures for suppressing fire. His men open up. Matt, still bleeding from the neck, crawls forward with a grenade, gets within 20 yards, throws it. The sniper position explodes. The medics are screaming. Neck wound. Arterial bleeding. He needs a surgeon immediately, or he'll bleed out in minutes. They stabilize him. Rush him to a field hospital. The surgeon operates for 3 hours. The bullet missed the carotid artery by millimeters. If it had hit, Matt would have bled out before the medics reached him. The surgeon is blunt. You're done. Career-ending wound. You'll never serve in combat again. Matt can't speak yet. His throat is bandaged, vocal cords damaged. So he writes on a notepad, "When can I return to my unit?" "Never. You're going stateside." Matt writes again. "No." They argue. Finally, the hospital commander intervenes. "Lieutenant Urban, you're being transferred to a hospital in England for long-term recovery. That's an order." Wound 2. Gunshot. Neck. September 3rd, 1944. Forced evacuation to England. The wound is severe. 2 months before he can speak again. Even then, his voice is hoarse, damaged. He'll sound like he's been shouting for the rest of his life. December 1944. Matt is still in the hospital in England when news arrives. The Germans have launched a massive offensive in the Ardennes, the Battle of the Bulge. American forces surrounded at Bastogne, the entire front collapsing. Matt walks out of the hospital, just leaves, goes AWOL, hitchhikes to the coast, talks his way onto a transport ship, lands in France, finds his unit. He shows up at company headquarters with no orders, no authorization, his neck still bandaged. His commanding officer stares at him. "Urban, what the hell are you doing here?" Matt's voice is a rasp. "Where do you need me, sir?" They give him his company back. February 1945. Germany. The 9th Division has crossed into Germany. Every town is a fortress. The Germans are fighting with the desperation of men who know they've lost but refuse to quit. Matt's company is attacking across the Roer River when German artillery opens up. An 80mm shell explodes next to Matt. Shrapnel tears into his side, his arm, his other leg. He's bleeding from multiple sites. The medic starts triage. Lieutenant, you need... I know what I need. Bandages. Morphine. Then I'm going back. You can't. Watch me. They patch him up. Matt leads the assault across the Roer. The company takes the far bank. Matt collapses after the position is secure. This time, he accepts evacuation. Not because he wants to, because he physically can't continue. He's lost too much blood. Wounds. 3, 4, 5. Shrapnel. Sidearm. Leg. February 1945. Accepted evacuation. 1 week in a field hospital. Then he's back. March 15th, 1945. Crossing the Rhine, the last major river before the heart of Germany. The 9th Division is part of the assault force. Matt's company is tasked with securing a bridgehead on the far bank. The crossing is a slaughter. German artillery has the river zeroed. Boats are hit before they reach the far side. Men drown, weighed down by equipment. Matt's boat is hit. An 80mm shell explodes in the water beside it, capsizing it. Matt goes under, pulled down by 60 pounds of gear. He cuts the straps, fights to the surface, swims for the far bank. German machine guns fire at swimmers in the water. Men around him are hit, screaming, sinking. Matt makes it to the bank, drags himself out. A machine gun position is 50 yards ahead, cutting down American troops as they land. Matt, soaking wet, exhausted, wounded from previous injuries that never fully healed, grabs a rifle and charges the position alone. He kills the machine gun crew, holds the position until reinforcements arrive. The bridgehead is secured. Wounds: 6, 7. Shrapnel, impact injuries during Rhine crossing, March 15th, 1945. This time, Matt doesn't wait for the medics to tell him he's done. He knows. His body is breaking down. Shrapnel wounds that won't heal. A leg that can barely support his weight. A throat that burns every time he speaks. He's been in combat for 32 days straight since going AWOL from the hospital in England. Before that, nearly 9 months with only brief interruptions for wounds. Total, 292 days of continuous combat. Normandy to the Rhine. Matt finally accepts evacuation. Not because he wants to quit, because there's nothing left to give. May 8th, 1945. VE Day. The war in Europe ends. Matt Urban is in a hospital in England, undergoing his 4th surgery. His leg is infected. Osteomyelitis. Pieces of shrapnel still embedded in his body. The doctors can't remove them all without risking permanent damage. Matt is medically retired. Combat disability, 90%. He's 25 years old. The Army processes his service record. Distinguished Service Cross for the bazooka attack at Renouf. Silver Star for the tank destroyer action. Bronze Star for the Roer crossing. Purple Heart with 6 oak leaf clusters. 7 wounds total. His commanding officer files a Medal of Honor recommendation. The paperwork goes to division, then to corps, then to theater command, and then it disappears. Lost, misfiled, buried in the chaos of demobilization. For 36 years, the recommendation sits in an archive, forgotten. Matt goes home to Buffalo, gets a job teaching high school, coaches football, marries a woman named Olga. They have 3 children. Matt never talks about the war. When people ask about the limp, the raspy voice, the scars, he changes the subject. 1978. A military researcher named Paul D. Bauer is going through WWII records at the National Archives. He finds Matt Urban's Medal of Honor recommendation. Complete, detailed, witness statements, combat reports, everything required for approval. It was never rejected, just lost. Bauer contacts the Army. They verify the documents, interview survivors from the 9th Division. Every witness confirms the actions. The Army approves the medal. 34 years late, July 19th, 1980. The White House. President Jimmy Carter places the Medal of Honor around Matt Urban's neck. He's 60 years old now. Gray hair. Still walking with a limp. The shrapnel wounds still ache when it rains. The citation reads, "His personal leadership, limitless bravery, and repeated extraordinary exposure to enemy fire served as an inspiration to his entire battalion." The ceremony is small. Some of his old soldiers are there. Men he saved in France, Belgium, Germany. They're old now, too. They shake his hand, tears in their eyes. "You kept us alive, Lieutenant. We wouldn't have made it without you." Matt just nods, doesn't know what to say. He never thought he was doing anything special, just his job. March 4th, 1995. Holland Patent, New York. Matthew Lewis Urban dies of cancer. He's 75 years old. The shrapnel embedded in his body, pieces the doctors could never remove, contributed to the illness. The war killed him. Just took 50 years. They bury him at Arlington National Cemetery. Section 30. Grave, 427-3. Military honors. The same honors afforded to every veteran. Nothing extra. That's how Matt would have wanted it. A high school in Hamburg, New York is named after him. The Matt Urban Hope and Faith Center for Veterans in Buffalo. A bridge over the Erie Canal. Small memorials. Most people have never heard of him. Here's what the numbers mean. 7 wounds. Any one of them could have ended his war. Most soldiers are evacuated after the first serious injury. Matt refused 6 times. The 7th, when his body finally gave out, came after 292 days of continuous combat. Think about that. 292 days. That's 9.5 months of nearly constant fighting. From the beaches of Normandy to the heart of Germany. Every single day knowing he could be wounded again. Every single day, his body screaming at him to stop. And he didn't stop. After the neck wound that should have ended his career, Matt went AWOL from a hospital to return to combat. He walked away from safety, from recovery, from a ticket home, because his men were still fighting, and he couldn't stand to be anywhere else. That's not bravery. That's obsession. Faith, a refusal to accept that your war can end while other men are still dying. The bazooka attack on one destroyed leg. The tank destroyer he'd never operated. The grenade throw with a bullet hole through his neck. The Rhine crossing while still bleeding from previous wounds. Any one of those actions is Medal of Honor worthy. Matt did all of them, and then did more. The Medal of Honor citation mentions limitless bravery, but it doesn't capture the full picture. It doesn't explain why a man would go AWOL from a hospital, why he'd refuse evacuation 6 times, why he'd keep fighting until his body literally broke down. Matt Urban never explained it either. When people asked, he just said he was doing his job. But here's the truth. The Army lost his Medal of Honor paperwork for 36 years. The most wounded officer in World War II, the man who refused to quit through 7 injuries, had to wait until he was 60 years old to receive recognition for actions he performed at 25. President Carter said it during the 1980 ceremony. This medal is 36 years late, but the courage it represents is timeless. Matt Urban didn't wait for orders, didn't wait for permission, didn't wait for his wounds to heal. He saw what needed to be done, and he did it. 7 times his body told him to stop. 7 times he refused. 292 days of combat, from Normandy to the Rhine. Matt Urban bled for every yard. The most wounded officer in World War II. The hero nobody knew about for 36 years. Until now.